Hi, today we're going to learn about topography. The word topography comes from the ancient Greek word topos, which means place, and graphia, which means to draw. In this way, topography means to draw places. Topography can be used to describe the lay of the land, and this is what we will be focusing on. Topography in this sense shows the natural and man-made features of the Earth's surface, including mountains, hills like these chocolate hills in Bohol Island in the Philippines, rivers, lakes, highways, bridges, paths. Topography is a drawing of places. Here, the Warli children in India are making topography on their tribal land by walking and running around on this circular path. They are drawing a place with their feet. Let's think about the many ways topography is made. The earth is constantly changing, whether it be by the movements of humans, animals, ground, climate, water, and many other natural forces. Some changes take millions of years, like this U-bend in the Grand Canyon that was eroded by the Colorado River, or Maine's rocky coast being eroded by the Atlantic Ocean. Some changes happen more quickly, like the lava flow of Kilauea volcano on the island of Hawaii that creates new land, or this sand dune in Namibia that is being blown away. Humans also move a lot of earth. Humans shape the earth in order to grow things, like the Longshan rice terrace in China, or create land art, like Robert Smithson's Spiral Jetty in San Francisco, California. And let's not forget animals. They move dirt too, little by little. The earth is constantly moving and being moved. But what if we wanted to capture a snapshot of what the land in a certain place looks like in a single moment of time? We can use a topographic map. A topographic or contour map shows the topography or contours of the Earth's surface using contour lines. The black and gray lines on this map are called contour lines. Contour lines show the form of the land and its height in relation to sea level. In order to understand contour lines, we should understand how we measure the height or elevation of the land. This image shows how we use sea level to measure the height of the land. At the point where the land meets the sea, that point is called 0 feet above sea level. On top of this hill or mountain, the person is standing at 6,000 feet above sea level. So how did we measure how high the mountain is? Do we use a giant ruler or measuring stick? Well, sort of. We measure land elevation by surveying the land. A surveyor measures the height of points on a particular piece of land with tools like a theodolite, measuring tape, level, rod, and other digital equipment. A surveyor uses these tools to get information so that she can mark the points on a map and eventually draw contour lines. Let's take a closer look at how contour lines work. Contour lines help us visualize information about the form of the land. When you look at a contour map, imagine that you are above the land mass looking down, like a bird. You see the land mass from above or with a bird's eye view. The contour line that is highlighted here in yellow shows that it is 6,000 feet above sea level. Does it help to see what the mountain looks like from the side and from above? For both views, you can see the 6,000-foot contour line. All points along this contour line are at the same elevation or height, which means that it is on the same level. The difference in height between two contour lines that are next to each other is called a contour interval. On this contour map, the contour interval is 10 feet. You can see this because the intervals noted on the map that are highlighted in yellow count up by tens: 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 100 is the highest point on this map. The contour intervals measure the vertical height or how tall the land is. The distance between contours is determined by the steepness of the landscape. If two contour lines are close together, the landscape is steeper, and if they are farther apart, they have a gentler slope, or sometimes flat. And you can see here with the red lines, the gentle slope and the steep slope. Contour lines can help you draw the topographic profile or outline of a landform. First, look at the topographic map. Imagine that the horizontal yellow line that is drawn through the contour lines from A to B is cutting through the landform. This is also called a section line. To draw the profile of that topography, you need to create a kind of graph below the contour map. To do this, mark the contour levels on the side of your graph, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Then, make a baseline starting at the lowest interval. Here I have a blue line at 50. Then, mark off the distance, which I have done with red lines, between each contour line on the baseline. You can see where I have done this when the red line's coming down. Now find the points where the black contour interval lines on the side cross or intersect with the red distance lines and mark the elevation using the contour intervals, making points. Once you have marked all your points, it is like dot to dot, and you can draw the profile that shows the slope and shape of the topography along the section line. And you can see that here, that profile here, highlighted in yellow. There are also a couple of rules that can help you read a topographic map. One rule is called the rule of V's. A sharp-pointed V on a contour map shows where the water drains. Water passes through the point of the V. This V shape in the land is caused by erosion, where water has washed away the land. And as water continues downhill, it flows into larger and larger waterways and then into the ocean. Another rule is the rule of O's. Closed circles on topographic maps usually designate some kind of hill. The innermost circle is the highest area, as you can see here with the bold O on the contour map. One of the easiest landscapes to visualize on a topographic map is an isolated hill. A summit or hill is an area of high ground. What if a surveyor could actually mark these contours onto the ground itself? If two people would start walking in opposite directions on that same contour line, beginning at point A, they will actually meet face to face. And that's because the ground is level on one contour. A pit is a low point in the ground. A pit is opposite to a hill. The innermost circle of a pit is the lowest area and is shown with hatch lines in the direction of the lowest point. That is how you can tell the difference between a pit and a hill on a contour map. On the surface, pits tend to occur in areas with poor drainage. Otherwise, pits would fill with water and become lakes and oceans. The saddle is a dip or point between two hills. Each hill here is circled by contours, but at some point, like at point A on the map, the contours begin to circle both hills. Point A is located on an elevation that is shared by both hills. This is a ridge. A ridge is a sloping line of high ground with contours that, if you look at it, look like the shape of a finger. This is a spur. A spur is a short, continuous, sloping line of higher ground, kind of like a ridge, but spurs are smaller and usually jut out from the side of a larger ridge. This is a channel or valley, and it is the opposite of a ridge. It has high ground on three sides and low ground in the center. On the Earth's surface, valleys are formed by water flow. A cliff is a vertical or near vertical land feature. It's an abrupt change of the land. Cliffs are also shown by contour lines very close together, and in some instances, the contour lines are touching each other. Now that you've learned a few things about topography, different types of landscapes, and contour maps, I want to show you some creative ways to put that knowledge into action. This is an Australian Aboriginal songline painting. Have you ever heard about the Aboriginal people of Australia? They are a society of hunter-gatherers that live in the outback or wilderness on the continent of Australia. They have created a series of networks of sacred paths that lead to important landmarks, water holes, and other natural places. They use songs called songlines that describe the location of these places, and as they walk, they use the songs to navigate or find their way. For Aboriginal contemporary artists making paintings like this one here, the songlines are used to inspire and document important information. These paintings are a kind of topographic map. Have you ever painted a map of places you like to visit and how to get to them? Have you ever made up a song to help you remember places important to you? It is believed that these huge land drawings, which can only be seen from the air, were made over 1,500 years ago by the Nazca people of Peru. This one looks like a hummingbird. These lines were created by scraping a thin layer, about 4 to 6 inches, off of the dry desert floor. Because the desert is so dry, these images have lasted for this long. It is fun to imagine how the Nazca made these drawings. We will never know for sure, but I wonder if it was from drawing with their feet, walking and drawing. Richard Long is an artist that makes art by walking in the landscape. Here, Richard Long walked through a field of flowers and took a picture of his path. Can you see the path he took? I wonder if he picked the flowers as he was walking. Do you have a field of flowers near you that you could make a path through? Here, Richard Long went on a walk through a forest in Nepal. He calls this work a brushed path. What do you think he means by that? Do you think he brushed the leaves away to create a path? Do you have a broom you could use to brush away a path in a forest nearby you? Here, Richard Long has made his own map. He drew 4 circles on a topographic map of a forest in England. He drew these circles and then went on 4 walks. Each of the circles was a path that he followed. Let's look at his map more closely. He calls his work a walk of 4 hours and 4 circles. Each of his 4 walks took 1 hour. Long had to adjust or change his walking pace and rhythm so that each walk took exactly an hour. The smallest circle he had to walk very slowly, and the biggest circle he had to walk very fast. What a fun experiment. I bet you could do something like this at your home, in your own backyard. Can you think of different ways to engage or get active with the landscape and topography where you live? I encourage you to get outside with your family and go for a walk, a hike, or run. Find a park, find a trail, and explore the topography. You can even use your imagination and create new and exciting landscapes. And draw a map of all that you see. Thanks so much.